Can't resist, hey? Hello everybody, thanks for joining in today. Just a sleepy afternoon in the pasture. The sun is out and it's very beautiful, but it is windy and chilly. Brr. So let's say hi to Nika. Hey, pretty girl. She's like, I'm napping and I'm crabby. Leave me alone. Okay, I have a great topic for today that was actually inspired by by one of my viewers, my subscribers. I'm gonna sit here with Nika, give myself, oh, she's so warm, feels good. So yeah, I'm in full winter gear today. It looks beautiful, but it's cold, it's chilly. It's just a little bit of a breeze. It's kind of nippy, but at least the sun is shining. Nellie's standing here dozing off too. Everybody's just kind of lazy. All right, so I got some notes in my pocket that I'm gonna go over. So basically, I'm 90 degrees in Arizona. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's too hot for me. I can't handle that. Jamie, thank you so much. That's so nice. Jamie just super chatted 10 bucks. That's awesome. So if you guys have been following these daily lives, everything that is donated via super chat or PayPal or anything like that goes directly towards me buying new gear so I can give you guys better quality videos. And I got a couple things on my radar to get as soon as I can. One is a microphone so you can hear me better when I'm riding and stuff like that. And then another thing is a Pixio camera that can follow me around while I ride, and I think that'll be super cool. So, but yeah, so today's excuse me again. Gotta get all the hair off my glove before I can reach into my pocket. Today's topic came from, like I said, a subscriber who, she sent me the nicest email. And guys, I really gotta say, I appreciate all of the emails that you've been sending me. I love reading your stories. And it's kind of cool for me to, because I see your comments and, you know, talk with you that way, but it's really cool when you guys send me an email just to share your story. And I'm trying to respond to those as much as I can, but if I don't, just know that I'm reading everything. So thank you so much. But this particular email made me really think and made me kind of sad in one way, and also made me say, you know what, I gotta share this with others. So, and I wish I could read it to you. I don't have any way of doing that right now, because of course it's on my phone and that's what I'm filming with. But basically, you know, she's been following my channel for quite some time, she said, and I hope she's watching or sees it at some point. Thank you, Penny. That's so kind of you. But basically, this gal lives in LA, and her horse, they don't have many options there for what you can do. Oh, Mainzer just got up and Nika whinnied at him. It was cute. Hey, honey. She's like, oh, now he's gonna come over here and bug me. But I've got my handy dandy little stick here. That's just an extension of my arm so I can kind of defend myself. He's like, Mom, get up. Okay, he's gonna pester her. She's comfy, I'm comfy, and he's gonna come over here and bug her. Because that's what little boys do. Aw. He's like, Mom, get up. Get up, Mom. He's like, I'd like a drink. Because he's not weaned yet. This is the fun part for me. I just like to watch the horses and see how they interact. He's like, I'm gonna bite your ear and bug you until you get up. It's just like my kids. Can't say that they bite my ear, but... Ooh. And that's my cue to get out of the way. So, as Nika rolls me off. Yeah, I've never had my kids, just got manure flung all over me. Never had my kids bite me to wake me up, but Tova did one time. She's gonna kill me for telling this story, but Tova did, I woke up to her finger completely shoved in my nose one time. That is a horrible way to wake up. If you've ever woken up that way, trust me, it's awful. Or if you never have, it's terrible. All the things that happen when you have kids that you just never, ever expected to have happen. So, okay, going back to my story. Sorry, I get distracted a lot. You know, a couple people have commented too on these live videos how, you know, they prefer the regular videos that I edit because, oh, look at crabby Mr. Lucky. Get over it. I'm gonna sit here now. I'm gonna follow him around just because he's annoyed. So I don't like that little attitude that he's got. So, but anyway, with these live videos, if you actually know me and you're around, if you're around me on any kind of a normal basis, you know that I'm a very distracted individual anyway. And that's just kind of how I roll. So if I'm like randomly saying hello or randomly telling stories or whatever, that's just how I am. So you guys are getting the real deal with these live videos, and in the videos that I edit, I'm editing a lot of that stuff out, and it takes me a long time to edit because there's a lot of that stuff that happens as you've been seeing with these live videos. So I'm gonna go a little closer to Lucky now. So going back to this gal who emailed me, she you know, she was saying how she's in LA and her horse is kind of confined to a stall, but she's there every day, and she takes her horse out and she pays extra for her horse to get, you know, turned out as well. So, but what really kind of hit home for me with her is she said, you know, sometimes my videos make her feel kind of bad, or maybe other people just in general make her feel bad because she's doing everything that she can, but she doesn't have any other options where she lives. So it's basically, you don't have a horse there, or you deal with it the way that it is. And I feel, you know, I feel bad for her for that. And I hope that I don't in any way, shape, or form ever mean to make someone else feel bad by the topics that I the topics that I discuss. So I want to talk about that a little bit and kind of explain my way of looking, because a lot of times you'll hear people say, never do this, never do that. And I don't agree with that. I feel like you need to do the best you can with what you have. So that's where the horse community as a whole has a really hard time with. And I think there's a lot of struggles that go on because people are very judgy in the horse world, and with a lot of things, I'm sure, you know, but the horse world is bad. It's bad, guys. So there's a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, you are so mean. I cannot believe you do not blanket all of your animals. It's horrible. And I'm like, why? They're animals and they're meant to live outside. Like, what about all the deer and the elk and the buffalo and the cows? Does anybody blanket their cows? I mean, seriously. But that's how people think. There's some folks who are like, you know, they just blanket their horse because it's just a thing that you do. And, you know, we are in a very harsh climate. So, and there's not wild horses just naturally roaming around here, and just because there's not. But so where I'm going with this, though, is it's personal preference. I think that a lot of times people don't have necessarily they haven't done all the research or have the actual life experience to know what a horse actually needs and what it doesn't need. And so they're just going by what they need. So for instance, you know, there's a lot of people, they're like, well, gosh, it's cold outside. I need to wear a jacket, so my horse needs one too. And, you know, like this pony, for instance, I mean, he could go live in Antarctica right now and be great. So it just depends on who you are and what you're doing. And thank you very much. Is it Martin? Am I saying it right? Say yes if I'm saying it right, okay? Martin? Maritime, because it looks like Maritime to me, but I want to make sure that I'm saying your name right. So, but thank you so much for just super chatting $10. That's awesome. So, Mainzer's going to be here. Martine. Oh, yes, Martin? Okay. Martin. Okay. So anyway, sorry guys, like this kind of stuff, I want to make sure that I say your names right. And I talk with you guys so much, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm getting your names wrong and all that jazz. That's not right. So, oh, Lucky's so crabby, following him around. So where I'm going though is like all these people who, oh, good boy, there. There, now he's not so grouchy, but I don't like when they're crabby when I walk up to them. That's just not, that's not what I like. So, but anyway, this is going to be kind of a, I got a lot to say about this discussion. And I'm going to hang out with Annabelle. She's going to be my next one that I'm just going to hang out with. Hi, Annabelle. Hi. How's it going? So, but anyway, so blanketing is just one example of so many, you guys. Blanketing is just one of so many. Stalls. Stalls is another thing. Oh my gosh, you're so horrible that you keep a horse in a stall. And oh my gosh, you're so terrible that you don't put your horses in stalls. Huh. Well, oh my gosh, your stall floors are concrete. You're a horrible person. There wasn't enough bedding in that stall. You're awful. Or there's too much bedding in there. You're being wasteful. Just like, you can't, guys, you can't catch a break in the horse industry. You just can't. So when Nika was having Mainzer, the whole like a month prior to that, that's when my channel like exploded. And I'll kind of give you a little background on that. So last March, so a year ago, thank you, Roxanne. It's awesome. So a year ago, I drove to Canada and did a collaboration with Day by Day Vlogs with my friends Danny and Katie. And we went for the fun of it, but we knew, you know, collaborating with other channels is a great way to grow your channel too. So we knew it would help all of us, everybody involved. It was going to be a fun deal and whatever. But I had 660 subscribers when I left for that trip. And on the way home, I hit my 1,000 subscribers mark. And that's when a channel can become monetized. So I hit 1,000 subscribers, and now my channel is at 12,500 subscribers. And that's like blows my mind how many I've gotten in such a short period of time. And my goal for 2020 is 20,000 subscribers. So any of you that want to help me out, hit that subscribe button, because you're really going to help me reach my goals, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Roxanne. It's awesome. So, but anyway, where I'm going here is, so right when I came home from my trip to Canada last year, that's when I started doing a lot of updates, like really regular updates on Nika, and my channel just blew up. And I was getting so much activity. I mean, like the analytics were like off the charts, blowing up. And I'm like, what is happening? Oh my gosh, it was really hard to keep up with. It was mind-boggling. I've not seen anything like it since, okay? And so with Nika, being pregnant, that's when, and it being my first time having a foal, that's when all of the haters came out, okay? That's when all the negative comments, and there was a lot of people too that were trying so hard just to be helpful. And I appreciate that very much. But boy, there were a lot of people who just, they didn't want to say anything that wasn't Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here, let me move so you can get up. I bumped her and she's like, what? Do you want me to get up? I love when horses stretch after they get up. So, that was really hard for me to deal with that. And I'm like, I'm new at this. For one, I'm new at the channel. And for two, I'm new at my horse having a baby. And it was like, oh my gosh, everybody is like attacking me. And on a daily basis, I'm getting this like, how's Nika? What's happening? Is there a baby yet? And just constant messages. And so it really kind of, it was hard to deal with. So, hi Cinnamon. Doesn't she have the prettiest mane? Look at her. So with that being said though, like, I've never been exposed to that much judgment in my life and just cruelty. People just being mean about everything. Like they would look for any little thing to totally attack me about. And so I had to try, and I started to get really crabby about it. And I responded in a few ways that I wasn't necessarily proud of. Like a few of the comments that I commented back, I just, like somebody would say, gee, I wish there was more shavings in her stall. And I'm like, that, but that message would come through after I had gotten bombarded with 20 other comments that were just horrible. People telling me that I should never own horses and I'm a terrible person for stalling my horse and I need to let her have her baby outside and just, I mean, really terrible, terrible things, guys. And so this one poor gal who's like, gee, I wish there were more shavings in her stall, got like full blown from me, okay? And did she deserve that? No, her comment wasn't that bad. I wish there were more shavings in the stall too. But what people didn't understand, like for her, you know, just maybe her comment just wasn't necessary. Did she really need to say that? No. So I just try to look at it. I'm like, think about what you say. Is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it helpful in any way? And if it's not, then just let it go. So, sorry, there's a noise that I don't recognize. So, it's okay, Cinnamon. I don't know what it was either. But, so anyway, but what people weren't seeing was the behind the scenes stuff. Okay, so this simple little thing of this gal saying, I wish there was more shavings in the stall. What she didn't know is that the reason why there was not much shavings in the stall is because when Nika was like getting ready to go into labor, I didn't really, I didn't know that she was going to be going into labor, but she was just really anxious. So, I mean, I saw the signs and I'm like, okay, she's a little anxious. And so I was paying attention to her, okay? But I wasn't like, oh, her water's going to break in 10 minutes. So I went in and I picked, she was making a huge mess in the stall and flinging poop everywhere because she was circling and circling and circling. And she'd been really quiet, you know, a couple weeks prior to that. But so I went through and I picked a bunch of poop out of the stalls, or out of the stall, took all that out, and then she laid down. And I'm like, well, I better just like leave her alone, okay? Because you don't want to be disruptive when anything's going on, and when like when I was going into labor, like don't touch me, like get away from me. and same with when, you know, a person doesn't feel good, like leave them alone, just back off. And same with animals. You know, they'll tell you if they want you to be near. And so the way Nika was laying down in her stall, I'm like, I should probably just leave her alone. And so I went and sat in the stall next to her and I kind of laid my head back against the stall and just sat there, and all of a sudden I heard like a gush. And I thought she was just peeing. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not stopping. And I went into the next stall. And if you've not seen that video, the no baby video, oh, go check it out. It's in the Mainzer's playlist. You got to watch the beginning of that because it was probably more stressful for me to breed that horse and go through that whole process than it was for me to have a baby, okay? So, because when I had a baby, I wasn't stressed out at all. I'm like, okay, this is fine, I'm cool. Like, I can handle this. It was going on in my own body, and I knew it was happening. When it was happening to my horse, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So, but anyway, so her water breaks, and like gallons and gallons and gallons were coming out, and I'm like, it's a lot of liquid. I had no idea, you guys. I had no idea that much liquid was going to come out of my horse when her water broke. I mean, I know that there's liquid that comes out, but I didn't know it was going to be that much fluid. So then I'm like panicking because I'm like, I just took a bunch of the stuff out of the stall, and now there's all this liquid everywhere. And then everything's happening so fast, and I had to run to the house and all this, that I didn't place the shavings. Okay? Do you guys understand how much crap I got for not adding more bedding to the stall? And I had even done how to prepare a foaling stall, or how I take care of my foaling stall video that showed how much bedding I put in there and what I do every day and all that. Did anybody watch that video? No. Because that one was more boring. So of course they're not going to watch it and see what I actually do on a normal basis. But this was like in the time of like sheer panic is when everybody wants to judge you. And that's just how it works. And gosh, that ticks me off. But that's how people are. And, you know, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm sure there's plenty of times where when somebody was really stressed out about something that I said something that was just totally stupid of me. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, you move on. You learn from those mistakes and move on. But anyway, horsehair flying in my mouth. But anyway, where I'm going is, one of the big things that I got attacked for was keeping my horse in a stall. My pregnant mare in a stall, for her to have her baby in a stall. And you guys have been seeing what I got going on here on a daily basis. Like, think about this time of year, 1 year ago. So it is what, April 4th here? Mainzer was born May 11th. So a month from now is when Nika was, a month and a week from now is when Nika would have been going into labor. You guys aren't seeing nothing yet as far as mud, okay? So what you're seeing behind me here, that's what I call the poop carpet, all right? And I'll get into that story too in a minute. But so I would not be able to, in my good conscience, let my mare be outside. Right now it is like 32 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So letting Nika have her baby in this weather, I didn't feel would be right, okay? And there's a good chance of having major issues if your baby is born in a snowbank, okay? They come out, they're wet. So keeping them warm is important. So that's right now what I'm dealing with. And so I didn't know when her actual due date was. So it was really hard, and she waxed up and she was dripping milk for the longest time. And so the vet and everybody that I know that has had multiple foals before, they're like, oh, yep, she's 48 hours out. And like 3 weeks later is when she had the baby. So it's like, gosh, I just didn't know what to do. So yeah, I didn't want a foalsicle, as Tracy says. So with that being said, you know, she stayed in a stall at night, and then she'd be turned out during the day, and then of course I'd turn her out and she'd go lay down and look like she's gonna have a baby, and then I'm panicking and wanting to put her back in. So yeah, that's what it's like here. Now a month from now, we are gonna have, the horses are gonna be to their knees in mud. To their knees in mud everywhere they go, period. And that lasts like a month, okay? So the entire month of May, unless we have a snowstorm, they're in mud to their knees. I can't do anything about that. It's our environment. It's where we live. So for me to let Nika go out and have her baby in that, it's not okay. So I did the best I could with what I had. And what I had was an indoor arena with a round pen set up in it. And also, I had a large stall for her to be in. And I had a turnout paddock that she could go in for part of the day sometimes. So that's a lot, you know, and I would just love to see, you know, because a lot of the people that make rude comments are, honestly, I'm going to tell you, they're from areas where they don't have to deal with any of that. Or, you know, they've got a super fancy place and they're paying people to take care of everything for them, and maybe they don't know what's going on. So, but here, no, I do it all myself, and it's my decisions based on what I've got going on. So now let me get back to my story about the gal who emailed me. We're gonna say, well, I'm gonna tell you that seeing that she feels bad because she's watched my videos and knows that I prefer my horses to be outside 24/7. I believe in that. I think that that's the healthiest thing for a horse. My horses have the opportunity to be outside 24/7. And I don't have stalls for all my horses. I have 5 stalls that I use for grooming them in my small barn, I call it. And then in my arena, I have 3 stalls, 2 of which are not able to be used for horses. One is set up as a little store, and the other one is set up with like all of our extra stuff that we need to store places. So I have 1 stall up there. So I have a total of 6 stalls to use at any given time. So I have run-in sheds. We've got trees for natural wind block. And we have horses with really, really healthy winter coats. And they handle the winter just fine. So I'm fortunate that I can do that. And I've got enough room for them to move around. But if I lived in LA, it would be a totally different story. For one, I wouldn't own 16 horses. And if you have a horse in LA, you're either like this is what she said in her video or in her email. She said if you have a horse in LA, you're either very lucky or you're very wealthy, one of the two. And so think about where that would put most of us as far as having a horse. Okay, so if I lived in LA, and I mean, I can't imagine living anywhere and not having a horse. Personally, I mean, I've had a horse since the day I was born, and like they're like, it's just me. Like, what would I do without a horse in my life? I don't know. Like, how would I exist? It's my life passion. So anyway, being in LA, say I had a little apartment or something somewhere, and I wanted to have a horse, and my only option was, okay, you can board your horse at this place, and your horse will get 1 hour of turnout per day, besides whatever you do to come and exercise it. Besides that, they will be in a stall. I'm going to find a way to do it. You know, I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to have a horse, or I'm not going to bring my horse with me, or whatever. I'm going to find a way to do that, and I will accept it because I need to have a horse in my life. And do I think it's abuse for a horse to be in a stall? No. I think horses can adapt to their environment pretty darn easily. Is it better for them to be outside living in a natural environment? Sure, because that's the way that they were designed, okay? But I don't judge people. Like, I would never judge her based on that. That's her option. That's her only option. And she's there every day exercising her horse. And horses are pretty content hanging around, eating. That's what they do. I mean, if you think about it, like when these horses are out here, they stand a lot, you know, or lay down a lot, or they're eating. They stand, they sleep, they eat. And they do get kind of frisky and run around and have a good time. They walk to their water tub and then to their food source and that sort of thing. But like this time of year, there's so much ice. I'll show you. So check this out. Can you guys see? Let's see. I can't see the screen. Can you see how much? That's ice. That's solid ice underneath the poop carpet. Okay? Solid ice under there. These horses aren't doing any running around. So, and that's the thing, is horses know what they can and can't do based on their environment. So they know that they can't run on this very easily. So, I mean, Mainzer, I saw him canter a little bit yesterday out here, and I don't know, he was following somebody. I don't remember who it was. But anyway, so they're running around a little bit. But to me, so, and like they run to get away from each other. See Petra being a big meanie and chasing Muffin. But they just are kind of chilling. So there's a good chance that her horse and, you know, maybe some of the other horses that are barn, there's a good chance that they get more exercise in a day than some of my horses do, okay? So, because if these guys are just standing around doing nothing, you know, they're not getting any exercise besides walking to and from the water tub. That's it. So if she's bringing her horse in and giving it, you know, an hour of exercise, let's say, that's, you know, maybe even a little high. What was my ride yesterday? Those of you who watched my ride yesterday, I rode for what, 20 minutes maybe? So think about that though. That 20-minute workout I gave my horse yesterday, that's the most she did all day. So if that gal is bringing that horse in and working it every single day, there's a good chance her horse is getting more exercise than some of mine are. And it lives in a stall. Plus, if it gets an hour of turnout a day, great. You know, it gets to just kind of hang out, be a horse, run around a little bit, do its thing. And for the most part, you know, I got horses that have a lot of issue with being in a stall. They get really upset about it and stuff, but they don't live in a stall all the time. It's new for them. So when they do go in there and they're in there longer than they anticipate, they get a little worried. And it's my job to help them get over that worry and work through that. And so like Annabelle's a perfect example. She hates being in a stall. Bear hates being in a stall. There's a bunch of them that don't like it. And so what I try to do is any of the ones that I've had, like Ona and Mainzer, are amazing in a stall. They can sit in a stall for hours. They don't care at all. They're not concerned. And I love that. But the horses that I have that maybe weren't exposed to a stall, or they were exposed to a stall in a negative manner prior to me getting them. When I say negative manner, I mean maybe when they were weaned, they were brought into the stall with their mother, and then the mother was brought out and the foal was left. That's one way to get a horse really worried about being in a stall. Or when, you know, a horse is having a hard time with being in a stall and the person just lets them out just because they don't want to deal with it. Well, there you go. You just reinforce that habit. So if we can wait until there's a good moment to let them out, that's how we get them better at being in a stall. So, but anyway, where I'm going is I bet you too that if this gal takes her horse to an event, somebody just recommended that I lower the pitch of my voice. Like me talking right now. If you could please explain, that would be great. So, or are you talking about people talking with their horses? I guess I don't understand. So, but anyway, so if this gal goes to an event or a clinic or whatever, I bet your horse stands really quiet in a stall. Where some of mine are probably gonna be losing their minds because they're like, why are we in a stall? So you guys look at that, think about that kind of stuff. So like I said, I really hope she's watching, because the way that I take care of my horses is not being judgmental towards the way other people take care of their horses, okay? So if that's your option, then hey, you do the best you can with what you have. There's a saying that I really love. It's do your best until you know better, and then do better, okay? And I love that saying, and oh my gosh, I am like living proof of that. I am always trying to find ways of being a better version of myself. I have a friend right now, for instance, who I've convinced her to get going on a YouTube channel. She's an amazing horsewoman, and she's got a a book, and I really love her book. I highly recommend that everybody checks out her book. And if you go to down in the link below, the description below, I've got a link to her book, and it's called To Catch a Horse. And it was really, really a great eye-opener, okay? So somebody just commented that I'm wearing a hat. Yes, it's about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So the sun is nice, but the wind is cold. I also have on my winter jacket. But anyway, her book, To Catch a Horse, is fantastic. And this gal, her name is Amy Skinner, and she has a website. So if you go to her website, you can kind of check out what she's got going on. And I think she's a really great, great horsewoman. She's a good human. And she just started a YouTube channel a couple days ago. And I don't have a way of, I can't share with you her channel right now besides telling it to you, because I don't have any way to link it right now. Maybe afterwards I can edit in the description. But so she is on YouTube. She has just 2 videos up so far. And I think that a lot of people can find a lot of value in her channel. So, but I was talking with her earlier today. We've been talking a lot each day just because she has so many questions about how to do a YouTube channel and such, that, you know, she was saying how she feels really weird being on camera, and she doesn't like being on camera. And I said, you know, I'm one of the most socially awkward individuals, I feel anyway, as far as being on camera, and even just like being at a social gathering and stuff. I'm pretty socially awkward unless I know the people or I have something in common to talk to them about, like horses. And so I said, you're going to learn so much about yourself from watching yourself, the things that you say, the things that you do, your facial expression, the tone of your voice, the way you ride. Oh my gosh. I have learned so much, and I'm my own biggest critic, okay? So when I watch myself ride, I'm basically giving myself a lesson. And somebody's asking, what was her name? Amy Skinner. Look up Amy Skinner Horsemanship, okay? And it's so eye-opening, though. This YouTube channel's helped me so much. And I read everybody's comments, too. So I take all of your comments into consideration. And so not only am I taking what I feel I need to change to make myself better. Thank you, Beck, for posting that. So not only am I trying to make myself better based on what I see, but I'm also listening to what other people see. And I've got a lot of people that I really respect that comment on my channel, whom I take their advice, or at least take it into consideration. And then there's a lot where guys, I'm pretty good at like just letting things kind of roll off my back. I don't really take things too personal. There's a couple that really bother me that I have a hard time getting over, and those are the ones that I'll usually talk about because it makes me feel better to talk about them. But I can tell you too, there's a lot of situations where I could have commented a different way. But the nice thing about being able to type is you can think about what you're going to say. Okay, you really have the opportunity to sit and think about it. And so I will think before I respond, usually. And then I'll respond in a manner where, you know, I let that person know that I respect what they just said, and here's my thoughts on it. Okay, so, and a lot of, honestly, like 9 times out of 10, if somebody leaves me a comment that I feel is a little bit rude or something, I find a way to, Mainzer. It's kind of hard to tell between him and Nika. Hey, I actually didn't know at first if it was him or not. He's so cute. He's got the softest little nose. But that's right about the time that he bites me. But anyway, I've managed to kind of turn that conversation around a lot of times and turn it into a positive. And actually, I get a couple people that I email back and forth with who started out as kind of negative comments on my channel, okay? So it started out where like somebody was commenting on some of my videos, and I'm like, gosh, I just like kind of like didn't maybe like their comments so much. And then we started talking more and like emailed and just like discussed some things. And then I'm like, oh man, I kind of really like this person, what they have to say. And it really turns it around. So if you can try to think from both sides, you'd be surprised what can come out of it. So I've had clients like that too. I've had a couple clients where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't like this person. Like I can like just about anybody. I can find good qualities in most people. And there's one guy in particular that I was like, oh, I do not like him for the longest time. And then he, gosh, for years turned out to be a really awesome friend and client, and you know, sent a ton of kids my way for lessons and different things. And you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I didn't tell that guy to take a hike. but just anyway, think about both sides of it. Maybe somebody said something in a manner that they didn't mean the way you took it. So don't go on the defense right away and jump down somebody's throat. Just really kind of think about it. So it happened the other day. You know, there was a comment that I felt was just maybe not so kind, and I responded to it and talked about it. And you know, the person's a great person. They really are a great person, and didn't mean it, and didn't know the background behind what was going on. And that's where it is. It's usually just a lack of knowledge of something. So just I guess my purpose here is just to tell you, who's the gray behind me? Somebody just asked. Is there a gray behind? I don't have gray. I don't have a gray. I got an appy. No, no gray. Sorry. So this gal that had emailed me, this pinto right here, this is Bear. And then I don't see any other. Sorry, got distracted. So this gal that emailed me, if she's watching, I just really want you to know that I don't judge you for your situation, and I understand. So because I feel like you are doing everything that you can for your horse, and your horse is probably pretty darn happy, and you're putting the time and effort into doing what you think is best, and I respect you for that. So but now the folks who are not willing to try to do the best, to make things the best for your horse, and you have the ability, you know, like say my horses right now, say they were all stuck in their stalls. I've got the ability to put them out in their pasture. Why would I want to leave them stuck in their stalls unless I'm working on something? I don't think that that's right. And so I'm going to kind of go down this road a little bit too. So speaking of talking about being judged and criticized and whatever, dealing with horse people, it's a lot of the reason why I don't like to go to horse shows. For one, I don't want to see some of the stuff that I see. But I also don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't want to deal with the, I don't like the fact that I've got to blanket my horse and leave it in a stall and have it be slick in order to go and win a halter class, okay? I want to take my horse and go have fun. That's what I want to do. That's just not my interest personally. I don't like judged events very much, okay? Because I think that it's just somebody's opinion, and who cares? And I don't want to invest all my time and energy into something like that. So that's just me. I'm not willing to sacrifice my horsemanship or downgrade my horsemanship in any which way, shape, or manner for a ribbon. I'm just not willing to do that. Even the whole time I barrel raced, okay? So there's one situation that I remember very, very clearly where Jason and I traveled around for about 5 years around the Midwest doing the Women's Professional Rodeo Association. I was on the circuit, and it was awesome, and we had so much fun. But I know a lot of times with that sport, horses are rushed. Horsemanship is just thrown totally out the window. And for me, like, you're going and you're doing this and you're spending so much money to be there. I mean, some of my entry fees were like $150 or more. So, and I don't have anything against judged events, you guys, okay? So if you do Western pleasure or showmanship or hunt seat or anything like that, like, I don't judge you for doing that. Like, that's good on you for wanting to do that. You're doing what you want to do, and that's fine. I'm just saying it doesn't work out for me. Like, it's not my thing. Like, I'll go just for the fun of it, but I'm not, like, going to be serious about, like, oh, I'm going to go and do showmanship or halter and be serious about it. I can't. I personally am not a type of person who can take that seriously, but fine with anybody else who does it. That's great. So for me with barrel racing though, so, you know, within that industry, it's like the bigger, faster horses, or not bigger per se, but the horses that are winning are like pretty high dollar horses for the most part, or they're people that have been rodeo for years. And for me, I was like, well, I just took my horse that was bred and raised in the UP that you know, my husband started, and then I did all the finishing work and did all the training myself. And now we're like hauling all over and going to these amazing events and meeting really cool people and having a great time together. And I would go out and I would have like this amazing run, okay? And when I say amazing run, I mean like, here's an amazing barrel run to me. It's not, an amazing barrel run to me is not going out and winning it, okay? That's not what really like gave me the adrenaline. What gives me the adrenaline with an amazing barrel run is going out there and feeling like, oh my gosh, my horse took me to the gate. When you see these horses that don't want to go in the gate, there's a reason for that. Okay, you people, if your horses won't go in the gate, there's a reason for that. They're not happy, they don't want to go into the gate. Sit back and listen to your horse and think about it and fix the problem, okay? They don't want to go in there for a reason. They're not being, but everybody's like, oh, my horse is such a jerk, or he's got gait issues, or this or that. And you hear people talk about that like it's a, they talk about it like it's the horse's problem. No, it's people problems. So for me though, like Nika, where'd she go? Oh, she's right behind me. Nika loves to run. That horse was born to run. She was bred to run. I watched her mother barrel race, and her mother was fast. Her mother was off the track, and Nika is fast, and she loves it. And so I'd be at an event, and they'd call, you know, I'm coming up, you know, and this horse can feel when it's time to go. And I have one of her barrel races, actually the last barrel race we had, I have a video in her playlist on that. You guys should check it out. I was wearing my GoPro camera. It was pretty awesome. So you should watch just for the adrenaline rush. It was fun. It was just a local rodeo, but it was so fun. And you can see my horse's ears. They're up. She's ready. She wants to go into that arena. So that's what I love about a barrel race, when my horse is like, yeah, let's go, you know, and she's like dragging me to she is dragging me to the gate. So there's been times where the gate of the arena has been open, and I'm just kind of circling my horse, like trotting her, warming her up a little bit before I go in. And she is drifting to the gate, totally pulling me towards the arena because she wants to go. The horse loves to run. She loves her job. Okay. So we're in Spooner, Wisconsin at the rodeo. And I was so excited because I went in there and sorry, I'm reading comments, guys. So I'm heading into the arena, and my horse, like, she wants to go just as bad as I do, and she takes off. And we had some pretty decent turns, and I just felt like I was so, like, it wasn't much work for me out there. Everything was so smooth, and I felt like we were just like a total team. Oh, the teamwork was just amazing. And I came out of there and I was so excited. And I went over to my husband and I'm like, oh, did you see that? Did you see that run? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you didn't make the top whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. It wasn't about that to me. It so wasn't about like if I won or not. And there's no way for anybody else to see what I felt. It's just impossible. So that was the hard part for me, is here I was going to these races and I was loving it, but it's so expensive. Oh my gosh, is it expensive? I mean, we spent every penny we had traveling to rodeos, and you know, I didn't come home with paychecks. So, and we were super no money. Jason, you know, was in college and I was like working for, where was I? I was probably a waitress at the time. I don't even remember at what point of my life that was. And we ended up stopping rodeo to, I stopped rodeos when we bought our farm, because it was like, okay, you can't do both. I either have a farm and continue with my career, or I go to barrel races. That's it. You can't do both. So, but anyway, that's what I loved about it so much. So, I mean, for me, it was like a hobby, and I love, there's something, you can run during the performance, or you can run slack. Those are the two options. And I loved, and slack is basically you don't run in the performance, you just run the pattern. And, you know, there's just like the people that are working there hanging out. There's no crowd or anything. But when you run in the performance, it's like loud music, it's adrenaline, it's usually nighttime, so it's like bright lights and all this stuff. And so I feel like it really kind of adds to the moment. And oh, I love it so much. I really do. I'm super passionate about it. But it is hard for me. It is hard for me. When I go to stuff like that, I can't watch what everybody else is doing. I just can't do that. I have to think about, hey baby, I had to think about what I'm doing with my horse in that moment, and the time, you know, I spent with my husband doing that stuff. Yeah. Mainzer likes hugs. So that's all that mattered. But if you're the type of person who can't handle seeing what other people do, then you can't go to that kind of stuff. So for me, I can just be like, you know what? I don't know what that person's situation is, and just keep on walking. And if they want help, they'll ask for it, or they'll find it. And all I can do is I can take what I know from my experiences and put it out there, and maybe somebody will see it. Okay? And just say that there's a better way. You can be better. Because there was a point in my life where I didn't think that I could be better. And the day that I realized, oh, I don't know crap, was the day that, you guys see how he's nibbling on me? Somebody asked, what do I do when my horse or when my foal tries to bite? You just redirect them, okay? So we're not gonna play that game, and I'm gonna just like go find something else to do, and I'll make sure that he stays away. And I got my little stick here that I'll do that with, but I'm not gonna allow him to nibble on me. So if he's gonna try that, I'm gone. So somebody just asked about my opinion on the woman who, her last name is Soap, maybe. Sandy Soap or something like that. So there's and I'll talk about this a little bit, because it was everywhere on YouTube and social media and everything. But basically, to tell you what was going on, is this gal had this shocking mechanism that she had, I think, under her saddle pad. And her horse didn't like to go in the gate, so she would shock him. She would reach back behind her and shock her horse. And she would keep doing that until he would run. And so I mean, of course, if you've been following my channel, I'm sure you know what I think of that. So I don't really have to say it, and I don't really have to, I'm not gonna go out there and share her video with everybody and then critique it. No, why would I do that? Then I'm just sharing hate. So all I can say is that something I would ever do? No. Do I need to tell you guys what I'd like to do to her? No. It's just not right. So just that kind of stuff, just ugh. So, but here's the way I look at it. A person that is willing to do that kind of stuff is not educated at all. A person who's willing to do that kind of stuff was taught to do stuff like that. So I'm going to go right back to saying we need to invest time into our kids, okay? They are the whole next generation. They are the ones who are going to change the world. Teach kids not to do stuff like that, okay? Teach them. Teach them what's right. Don't worry about exposing them to the bad stuff. Teach them what's right and teach them why. So that's what I like. If you're ever watching something and you don't know why somebody's doing it, like there's a lot of young people on YouTube that are teaching and or claim to be trainers and all this stuff, and get on YouTube because it's where it happens. It's free. Anybody can do it. Anybody can be a trainer on YouTube. And so if somebody's doing something, like there's a lot of people who are younger that advocate bitless bridles and this and that, and a lot of times their response to things is just because. So if somebody can't give you an educated answer that is backed up by experience, just walk on by. Just walk on by. And so my job here is, not only do I want to take my own personal experiences and share it with you, but I also want to take anybody that I feel is super knowledgeable and I want to share them with you. So the only channels that I would recommend you watching are ones that I'm going to talk about. So if there's a channel that I don't recommend, I'm probably not going to talk about it, okay? So I want to introduce you to the good stuff. I don't want to introduce you to the bad stuff because I'd rather the bad stuff not be watched at all. I think that's a better way of going about it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I got other things I want to talk about, and we're going to talk about like some good things, okay? I got my notes. So as far as, you know, the whole topic to this video is, you know, am I doing my best? And for me, like I'm always, every little thing I do, I'm always trying to figure out a way to make it better. Like, how could did I do right by that horse? You know, did I do the right thing? Could I have been better at that? Or I'll say, how would so-and-so handle that? You know, somebody that I respect and look up to, how would they handle it? Or I think of situations that maybe I did that I really could have handled a lot better, okay? So, things get frustrating, and I get that. I totally get that. And the more experience you have, the better you'll get at things, okay? Like if you've got kids, the second kid was probably a little easier than the first kid because you've already been through all of it, okay? So with the horses, I have a lot of horses to practice on, and every single one of them teaches me something, and I get better and better and better. Plus, I've worked with a lot of horses for other people, and there was a time where I would take anything for training, anything. And so I ended up with a lot of really crappy horses over the years for training, and they taught me a lot. Like, that was the best education I could get. You can't buy that. You just can't. So there's people who work with horses, it's really important that they not only are out there trying their best to learn more, but have, so education where, like my job doesn't require a college education. I didn't go to college. I did go for like a year and a half while my husband was deployed, kind of for something to do. And I wanted to, you know, there were certain things I wanted to learn. So I went to school for a little while, but my particular job doesn't require that. So my job requires life experience, and you kind of have to, I don't want to say self-taught. That's another thing too. If you talk to somebody who is a self-taught horseman or whatever, I hear that a lot with some younger people on channels, is they're self-taught. Well, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of things that you need to learn, and learning from others, or, you know, through books or DVDs or in person, is incredibly important, because there's a lot of things that you're not going to experience that they've been through that they can teach you. So a 20-year-old who is self-taught trainer, run far, okay? They need more life experience before they can be doing that as an actual job. So for me, the more I learned, so I got to a point where I'm like, I talked about this a little bit the other day, like the 4 different stages of your confidence and such, and or the 4 different ways of the levels of horsemanship, sort of. And basically, you know, I got to a point where I'm like, I thought I knew everything, you know, in my late teens, mid to late teens, I knew everything. And then you have like this humbling experience where you're like, oh gosh, I need to know so much more than I do. And then you start seeking out education, and then you realize you know nothing. And then you just can't stop, and you just learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, and you just want to learn more. That's the level that I'm at now. So you just can't get enough. So these folks who are saying that they're self-taught, they haven't reached that stage yet. They're still in that I know everything stage, and they really don't know crap. So don't run from them. Let them figure stuff out first. That doesn't mean they can't change. Okay, that doesn't mean they can't change, because I was that person at one point too. So give them time, let them change, let them grow, and then move on. But so for me, I try to do 4 clinics a year that I go and ride in. That's kind of my goal. And I learn so much every single clinic that I do, and it's so important for me to just continue to learn, because there's so many things that I don't know yet and that I want to be better at. And there's certain things where I'm like, okay, I got a pretty good handle on this, and I'm happy with how it goes. And then I maybe go and do a clinic or get a lesson with somebody, and I'm like, oh, that could be even better. And then I'm like mind blown at how much better it can actually be. So that's where it's really cool. And you know, you throw your pride and your ego and everything totally out the window. Just totally ignore all that crap. So with horses, your ego has no place. Neither does your pride. Learn to laugh at yourself and just move on, okay? Just take it all in stride. Everybody is at a different place in their horsemanship journey, okay? So don't judge others for where they're at. And people typically don't like to be told what to do, okay? So for me, you know, people pay me to tell them what to do. And that's different. They've accepted that they need to learn, and that's awesome. And they're in the right frame of mind to being told what to do. But don't just willy-nilly go out giving your advice to people who don't, you know, necessarily know what they're doing. They don't want advice at that point. So if they ask for it, that's one thing. If they don't ask for it, maybe don't give it. So let them figure that out. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different riders, and I'm not going to say their names. And I've got a student, and she'll know who she is. So I'm going to talk about 2 different ones. She'll know who she is. And so this one, she is a great rider, but so hard on herself. So hard on herself, to the point where she shuts down. Used to. She doesn't anymore. I haven't seen it in a long time. And she's young too. She's 12, okay? So there's one ride in particular where I believe it was this horse. This is a really tricky horse to ride, guys. Not that she does anything bad, but she gets confused really easy. And a lot of people get pissed at her. And so I'm really fussy about who I put on her, because she's a very special horse to me. I adore this horse. And there's a good chance, like, so I got her when I was I just had Tova. So I'm not, I didn't have time for her when I got her, and gosh, she needed so much work and everything. I'll talk about her completely in a different video, I promise. But so there's a good chance though, like if I had gotten Annabelle when I did have time to work with her, she would be my personal horse. And this is, you can't get any more grade than this. And when I say that, like, I don't know what the heck she is. She jumps like a cow. She is, You know, her conformation's not perfect, but she is a cool horse. She's so fun. She's like, you know, think of like somebody building a hot rod. So you got your, you know, your Porsches and your Ferraris and your, you know, your souped up pickups or whatever, all these different vehicles. And then you got like the hot rod that Grandpa built from like just random parts. That's Annabelle. Annabelle's the hot rod. So Nakona's like, she's like a little Porsche. You know, she's zippy and she's very, she handles really good and all that. But then Annabelle is the hot rod. So, but I love her. And so I love when I have students who can handle her in the manner that she needs to be handled. Oh my gosh, they blossom so much. They get really good. And she's a great teacher. So, but this particular rider that I'm talking about was really having troubles working through a problem. She was taking it personal. Well, this horse just needed some help. She was confused. She didn't understand. And the more things got confusing for the horse, the worse it got, and the more the rider shut down, okay? She internalized it, and she was feeling bad about it and embarrassed. And of course, it's a group situation. And so there's other riders watching, and you know, the way that I work in my barn, like we learn together. Every single person is in a different place in their horsemanship journey. There's no judgment. It is what it is. It's a fact. What's happening is happening. And it's nothing personal to anybody. It's just a learning experience. So this horse, I'm trying to help the horse and the rider, and everybody in there is learning from it. And everybody's going to be in that place at some point or another in their life if they ride enough horses. So it's important for everybody to learn that. And that's why I love my group lessons and I love clinics. But so the rider had we ended on a good note. We always end on a good note with horses. And we got it to a point where it was like, okay, we can quit here. And sometimes my lessons take forever because of that. And that's the way it must be with me. I can't do it any other way. I have to leave on a good note. So after the lesson, the rider wouldn't say a thing, just super quiet. And I talked to her mom a little bit about that, and she's like, yeah, she just does that. She's really hard on herself. And if she's not good at something, she gets upset with herself. And I'm like, this isn't about that. This is about being able to help this horse through something and not take it personal. You can never, oh my gosh, if I took things personal with horses, which I have in the past, and regret every single second of all of it, but I learned a lot from it. If you take things personal, you will drive yourself nuts, and it won't be fun. It's gonna be miserable. You might as well like throw in the towel. If you're gonna take it personal, So, anyway, I'm gonna say a little bit more about this rider. This rider had the opportunity to take a jumping lesson with a really great trainer, and she's at a level where I'm like, okay, you get to graduate to taking lessons with this person. And so in that lesson, I saw it again, and she was having a hard time with a certain thing on a different horse, having a hard time with a certain thing, and internalized it and shut down, and like was having a really hard time learning because she was so focused on what she was doing wrong. And that's not the case. And my jump instructor, she's tough as nails, man. And I mean, she chews me up and spits me out. And I love it. I have learned that the tougher somebody is on me, the more I learn. And I have gone to clinics. I have paid like $2,000 to go to a clinic between the travel and everything, and sat in a hotel room and cried for 2 days in the evenings because reality hurts. Like, man, the truth sucks sometimes, but I learned so much from doing that. And, you know, once I was like, okay, let go of all these emotions and think about this. How can I be better? Ona's gonna come and pick on me now that I'm down. It's the progression of learning. It's how we get better. So when this rider was taking this lesson with my jump instructor, like the jump instructor even came over to me and she's like, I'm kind of like where I don't know what to do, because I'm feeling like she's hating every second of this. And that's hard as an instructor to be like, okay, you need to work through this, but how do I get you there? And I'm not gonna lie, like I've been in situations like that, and sorry, Danny. Sorry, I got to say this, but when Danny was a little younger, gosh, I made her cry, I think, every lesson. And it was not intentional at all, but she would just get so frustrated because she just wanted to do it so bad, and that she'd get frustrated with herself, and that's how it came out. And then in the car on the way home, she'd tell her mom, oh, that was such a great lesson. And her mom's like, are you kidding me? You were crying. And so it's just, she doesn't do that anymore. Now she knows how to work through it, and it's great. But so anyway, now this rider that I was talking about though, with her jumping lesson afterwards, we talked about it, and she learned a lot from that. And I'm really excited to watch her take a jumping lesson again, because I think I'm going to have a totally different kid on my hands. And she has learned to laugh at herself. She has learned to understand that it's a progression and it's nothing personal. And it's been really fun to watch. So, and I'm there every step of the way helping these kids through that stuff. And I love it. Because once it finally clicks for them, they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But I think about how horses help people so much in that aspect. Like if you can learn to get over that stuff, it is setting you up for life with so many things that you're going to have to deal with. I mean, hugely. You're gonna thrive so much better if you can learn to deal with that stuff. And it's proven. I've proved it hundreds of times with so many people. And then there are some though that I can't help, because it's gotta be something that they want as well. So there are some who they just don't have that passion. Okay? So you gotta have the passion for it in order to get better. So, but anyway, that's my story about that one. Now I got another one. The other day, Missy, I gotta respond to that, because my every instructor that I've worked with does tell me that I'm a really good student, and my jumping instructor, who's hard as nails, she laughs at me like the whole time. And she'll tell me, she's like, Brody, I've never seen anybody try as hard as you do. And I will try, and I will admittedly be like, oh my gosh, I suck so bad at this. I'm trying so hard. And she's like, I know, I can see it. But it's like, I try, and I eventually get it. But it's like, you gotta laugh at yourself. Find the humor in it. Otherwise, it's just not gonna be fun. Hi, Lottie, thanks for joining today. But going back towards my other story now, is I had a student message me the other day, and man, she was having a heck of a time with her horse, really, really hard time with her horse, and was so upset that she wanted to she's like, you know what, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And I'm like, are you kidding? You live in my, like you'll spend hours a day. Yeah, maybe horses are not my thing. No, you spend hours a day in the barn. You are meant for this. You can do this. It's like what you do, it's what you're made to do. You need to follow that. Just because it gets hard, you don't quit. So, but what happens a lot of times, especially in the spring, is we kind of expect our horses to leave off where we left them, or pick up where we left them. And that's just not the case. Horses, think about like when kids go back to school in the fall, they lost a bit of their education over the summer, and I feel that way like when I'm giving lessons and stuff too. Riders that come on a regular basis, they're able to retain the information so much better. So like I tell people, if you're only going to take 4 lessons in a year, take them as close together as you can, because you're going to just retain that, and you're going to work and work and work. So when I get kids that come in and ride, and they ride, once every other month, I feel like I'm reteaching them the same thing every time. And it goes the same thing for horses. So when you start back up working with your horse, I want you to set your expectations very low, like this big, okay? So go out and be like, and this goes right back to the mule. Oh my gosh, the mule taught me so much. And like you guys probably heard me say the other day in one of my lives is, you know, I would go out and I would say, today I'm going to pet the mule. That's my only goal for today, is to pet the mule. And I would go out there and there was no way in hell I was going to get to pet that mule. That mule's like, that's not on my agenda for today. And so I learned that, you know, I was setting the bar way too high. I'm going to plop myself on this hay box. I was setting the bar so high just by saying I'm going to pet her. No, what I needed to say is I'm going to go out and be there with her. And I'm going to stay there until I see a change of expression. And then I'm going to call it good. Because I'd be out there for 2 hours trying to pet this stinking mule and I couldn't get near her. And, you know, I get really frustrated. That tried my patience a lot. But the more, like, she was teaching me, and the more I thought about it, oh, Annabelle, the more I thought about it, the better I got, okay? The more I realized, oh, Annabelle, she's like, I just have to smell it. Just want to smell it. So once I lowered my expectations, here you guys, we're gonna see what Annabelle does to me. She licks me. She licks everything. She's a licker. It's just what she does. So, but Annabelle, you can't be on top of me. I'm sorry. Go on. Here, go around. I'm sorry. I've got to help Annabelle find a spot to go. Figure it out. Here. Okay, so lowering your expectations and starting, you got to kind of start from scratch again and just build your way up, okay? So my advice to her was, no, you get out there and do this. I know you can do this. And just back off and think about it, okay? It's so important, and I see it all the time in the spring. Hi, Clover. Kitty, 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 kitty. Come on. Hi, kitty. And she did. She worked through it. And when she went out the next time, she backed off a lot, and she ended on a good note. And that's where it's super important. So you back off, lower those expectations, and you always end on a good note. And then, Lottie, I'm not going to ride, I'm not going to do a riding video today. So maybe tomorrow with Annabelle, possibly. So yeah, if you lower your expectations, your performance will rise, Jean. That's exactly it. So, and I'm not telling you guys to like this doesn't apply to everything by any means. You know, you have to have high expectations for certain things, but for this stuff, you really gotta keep it small and simple, and you know, otherwise you're gonna fail, and that's not good. So you don't want to fail. Okay, guys. Jeez. Clover, no. So now I got the cat and horse snuggle. Really, guys? So, anyway, I love Clover too. She's awesome. She's the best. She's such a good kitty. So, it gets very frustrating though, because people they just want to improve so much, and it takes so much time. It takes so much time. And we just keep learning. Oh my gosh. I like social distancing. It's kind of fun. No, I just love the fact you guys get to understand that, like, I don't like to go anywhere anyway, and so this is making it so I have to, well, I don't have to spend more time with my animals, but you guys are allowing me the opportunity to spend more time with my animals, like to just sit here. I love doing stuff like this. I just don't do it enough because I have guilt. Like, I always feel like, oh, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing that and whatever, and when really, like, I could just be snuggling with my animals. She's gonna lick the cat. Oh, Annabelle. When Annabelle met my puppy the other day, she actually like nickered at her. It was so cute. Okay, so you guys see where I'm going though with the whole like slow down and work through it. And saying I always throw out there is just suck it up, Buttercup, and work through it. You can do this. And because that's where the learning happens. It's not always going to be perfect. It's just not. So you'll learn so much when things go wrong, and you just need to back off and then think about it. Leave on a good note. Find a way to leave on a good note, but start out small and build from there. Just little teeny tiny baby steps. I've rushed with a lot of horses and tried to push it, you know, or said, all right, I got 1 hour today, we're gonna ride, this is what we're gonna do, these are things I'm gonna work on. And I failed epically and then ended up leaving on a bad note and then went backwards in our training. So the next day I have to go out there and I have to fix everything I did the day before. No. She had the cat's tail in her mouth. It's not nice. And the cat is on me, so I'm the one that's gonna get scratched. Kitty and horse snuggle. Oh, that's so sweet. It's adorable. Just be nice to the kitty. Be nice. Somebody asked, why does Annabelle lick? And it's just her. It's just her. Always has been. She's just funny like that. And, you know, people will say, well, maybe she's deficient in this or that. And no, because she doesn't lick everything. She's just an odd horse. So is her personality to do things like that. So it doesn't really surprise me. No, you can't chew on my cord. She's just a weird, very weird horse. Very awesome horse, but she's very, very weird. Annabelle would not do well in a lot of different homes, okay? And maybe that's why I have her, is because the person that had her, you know, didn't do well with her. I don't know, but I'll tell her story another day. It's pretty... Annabelle was abandoned. I'm just going to leave it at that. So, but... my goodness, so many snuggles. This is great, hey? I think that's all I had to say about everything that was on my list today. But if I could just encourage you to try to keep doing better, we can do that together, because that's my goal. My goal is just to be a better version of myself. How can I be a better version of myself? And when I go to any kind of an event, so say I do go to a horse show, because I do that, I'll go and for fun, you know, I go for fun and do different things. And my goal is just to have a great ride and to try to do it a little better than I did the time before. Or if there's something in particular that I was having struggles with, I think, okay, you know, I'm going to see how that's going to go and try to work on those things. But trying not to get frustrated with the horse is very, very important, or with myself, and just use it all as a learning experience. And then all of a sudden, like I've got this one student who has always been really good about, she's hard on herself, but she's always been really good about, she's got great sportsmanship for one, but also great horsemanship. If you guys saw Carly, I did a video with her over the winter where she was applying for a wrangler job, and I have to tell you guys too, she got it. She got the job she wanted. So I hope everything goes okay in the world and she's able to still go and do that. But Carly, the thing I can say about her is she always was just out there having a good time, and she competed in every single event, every event. No, Annabelle's not a rescue. So she went out and competed in every event, and she had fun in everything she did. Everything she did. And she won every class. Like, this girl was winning, you know, whether it be Western Pleasure or a hunt seat or a jumping class or barrel racing, she was winning everything, and she did so good. And she just has such a great personality, and she would get overwhelmed, I think, because, you know, horse shows are, when you compete in everything and we just did, you know, local shows and stuff like our fairs and our local circuit, so never any like big shows, but it's the stress of being there and doing that stuff all day long, and, you know, not having time to eat and having to change your clothes multiple times throughout the day and having to change your tack and all that. It gets really stressful. But so I don't think she liked that part of it. But besides that, if that kid's on her horse, she's having a good time. And I think that means a lot. And she's very humble and can find anything to be a learning experience. So I just, oh gosh, she's one of my favorite people. But she's just so inspiring in so many ways. So that's what I think we all could learn from. Yes, there are nets. So I'll answer some questions. Look at a little more kitty and pony snuggles. Just, you don't bite her. Be nice to her. Good thing Daisy's not over here. Daisy would be mean. So yes, I have Hay Chicks nets inside of these boxes. And I'll have to do a video one of these days when I'm feeding so you can see how they are attached in there and such. But these work out really great this time of year because we've got, you know, like the poop carpet, like I was saying, it's gross. We don't want the hay to get stomped into the poop, because then they won't, you know, they don't want to eat it, of course, and it's just not healthy for them. Oh my gosh, that cat. Annabelle is, I think she was born in 2008. So David, not many. Yeah, when something clicks for you and you're like, ah, I get it, that aha moment, it makes you, it really triggers something and it makes you want to learn more. Marie asks, what do I think about a paddock paradise where the horses need to walk a lot more to get hay and water? Yeah, it's great if you've got time for that. And, you know, I think that the better we make our living environments for the horses, the more movement that they can do, because like wild horses, they move all day long. Like, they're constantly moving because they're searching for food and water. They have to keep moving. Domestic horses don't have to do that. Everything is right there. So some of them are more pampered than we are. So the more they move, the better it is. And especially for their feet. It's so good for their feet to continue to move. That's why so many domestic horses have such crappy feet, is because they don't move enough. Movement is ideal. So a lot of my horses, I mean, they have great feet, but they're in my arena a lot, moving and getting good exercise in the sand. Somebody's asking how you recover from a tragic horse accident and how you get back into it. Well, I did a video a few days ago about confidence, and I think that would be a really good one to watch if you haven't. But just like with anything, you know, just like I just talked about, starting out small in the springtime and not having too big of expectations for your horse. You know, just getting out there and grooming and taking him for walks and learning groundwork. Here's the thing. So one of my trainers, his name's Buck Brandeman. If you're not familiar with him, I highly recommend checking him out. But he always talks about how you know, there's not very many things that scare him anymore, because there's not a lot of things that he doesn't know how to fix with a horse. And so, you know, knowledge is power. The more you know. Thank you, David. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. The more you know, the less worried that you'll be. And, you know, bad things happen. It just does. And it's really hard to move on from that. So I share a couple stories in that video if you want to check that out. But yeah, I just got knocked off the box here. If you want to check that out, that would be that would be great. But I try to keep things really simple and just, oh, Christina, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. And yeah, bad things happen, but you can't let it stop you from doing what you love, you know? So you finding a way, no matter what it is, finding a way that you can get back into it and enjoy it, and or like helping with for me, the way that I find that helps me get involved in something, no matter what it is, if I can find a way to be a helper. So if I can be involved with something and helping somebody else in it, and I can see some kind of joy with it, that makes me want to do it more. Like, I volunteered for a while at a therapeutic riding program that we have locally here, and I really, really enjoyed that. It was a very, like, I wasn't there for me, I was there for them, but to see all that joy that came from that and all the good, that made me feel super good about it. So I would, you know, I would suggest maybe seeing if there's something that you can do to help out, and then you'll be kind of surrounded by happiness with it, and it'll give you that sense of purpose, and I think that might be a good way. So, but that's just me talking from how I work, you know, what would help me out, I guess. But, or if there's a place that you can maybe volunteer at or something, as far as like grooming horses and just doing something where you're feeling helpful. I always feel like if you got a job, it's better. So, like, you know, if I've got a horse that's troubled about something, I give him a job. Or if my kids are fighting, I give them a job. It always fixes everything. My dog is driving me nuts. I give her a job. You know, we go play ball. Okay, you need to get out and do something. We go play ball. Or if I start to get like anxious about things, I go find something that I can do that I can be helpful, and that seems to work out really well. But, well, it's warming up a little bit here, guys, but it's still, that wind is chilly. The wind is cold. So any other questions here today? I think I covered everything on my list that I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's kind of long-winded. I got to tell you, I had a little bit yesterday after the riding video. I had a little bit of a sore throat. My arena is really dusty right now. I got to water my arena today. Not something I really want to do when it's a little on the chilly side, but I got to water and drag it, make it all pretty again. So, oh, you know what? I do have something else I want to talk about too. So remember how I was talking about how like with stalling my horses and stuff like that, how people are always quick to judge. So when we bought our farm, there's so many projects. Oh my gosh, so many projects, and it was overwhelming. And my husband and I, oh, here comes the other kitty. Oh, they got to be sweet to each other, and then they'll probably like smack each other in the face. But so when we bought our place, we had so many projects, and it was overwhelming because we made a list of all the things that we wanted to do, whether it be realistic or not. And we just picked away at these projects, picked away and picked away and picked away. And it like slowly started to get better, okay? But then, you know, somebody would see something, oh, you should do this, you should do that. My dad's a really good one for doing that. Oh, when are you gonna fix this, or when are you gonna fix that? Yeah, I got it, Dad, it's on my list, I'm gonna do it. Just and he comes over and helps me with so many projects on our farm too. It's awesome. But it just goes right back to do the best with what you can, or do your best with what you have. So like right now, some people have asked for trail riding videos, okay? And I don't have any. I can't get out on the trail right now. We got like 6 feet of snow. It's impossible. So please understand that. And also, for me to go trail riding, I have to haul my horses elsewhere. We do have trails from our place, but it's not always ideal because of traffic. So David, I really wish that I could have showed everything that my dad did and said in that video, he would kill me. But he doesn't want to be on camera at all. But oh my gosh, that day was so funny. I wish I could have shared that with you because it was awesome. But so anyway, you know, there's traffic around our trails, so we have to be very careful, like which horses we take out, who we take out, stuff like that. And we had a situation one time where I think 4 or 5 people went out, and some people were walking their dog, and the dog attacked the horses, and all the riders fell off, and the horses ran home without them and had to cross a pretty decent highway. And that was horrifying, absolutely horrifying. So I am pretty fussy about our trails, and I was not with them on that ride. That was, you know, some gals who board and lease, and it was just awful though, terrible experience. Thank goodness nobody was hurt, no horses were hurt, because it could have been really, really bad. But so with us, with trail riding, like I won't take my kids just trail riding from my house. I trailer to my parents' house typically and trail ride there, where we can go on some public land and some family land and such. And that works out really well. So yeah, Tracy, it's not good at all. I had a client lose a horse last fall that way. So, but something that I would love at our farm is an outdoor arena. So I ride in my 60 by 120 indoor arena year round. And we can ride around in our yard and stuff, but we don't have enough property really we don't really have anywhere to put an outdoor arena. And I'm thinking about using part of my pasture to do one. It's gonna be about $20,000. Which is, well, having horses that's just the reality of it, you know? But I would love to have a larger area to ride in to do more advanced stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really, you know, none of my other horses are really, besides Nika, I've competed in barrel racing on, because I can't run a full-size pattern in my indoor arena. It's just not an option. But this is what I have, and I'm making the most of it. So I spend most of my time focusing on teaching and doing what I can do in what I have. And if I want to trail ride, I plan it and I make it work out. But, or if I want to go over and use my mom's outdoor arena, I can do that. But it is, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, there's things where you just got to kind of let things roll off your shoulder. So yeah, once I get I'll upgrade all my video equipment, then we can work on an outdoor arena. Yeah, but no, it's something that I'm planning to do, but it might take me another 10 years before I can do it. But it's there. I'm trying to make improvements. But you know, I can say, okay, I really want this outdoor arena, and I can kind of plan for that. And oh well, now all of a sudden we have to let's see, rent heaters to use inside the indoor arena to melt all the snow off, and that costs $800. Okay, so that sets me back a little bit. Or, oh, now I got this vet bill for whatever reason. Oh, that sets me back a little bit. So, I mean, it's priorities. There's certain things, or like manure removal, for instance. You know, oh, I got to pay, say, $1,000 to have somebody come in and scrape the pastures and clean all that up. So, it's not like, things just add up. So I will sacrifice me wanting to have a larger space to ride in because I have all these other things that I have to do. And when you're a small business owner, you got a budget and you have to follow it, because that's how a lot of small businesses fail, is by borrowing money from other sources to get what they need. But I'm not willing to do that. So I'll just go without. And we just ride where we can. And I am fortunate because I do have an indoor arena. You know, some people, I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys have the most amazing trails from your house, and you have the most amazing, huge outdoor arena to ride in. But they're like, yeah, but you have an indoor arena and can ride all winter. You know, it's just, it is what it is. So we, oh, uh-oh. Run, kitty, run. I wouldn't trust him, Clover. You get out of here. You're gonna get bit. So yeah, we don't want Mainzer. I could see her grabbing him by the I could see him grabbing her by the tail. Here, Clover, you're gonna get out of here, okay? I want you to be safe. So anyway, you guys see where I'm going with all this. So and people say too, like, you know, at my farm, they're like, oh my gosh, you have so much mud. I hear that a lot. I get a lot of comments. Can't believe you put that baby out in the mud. Get out, Clover. Can't believe you put Mainzer out in the mud. He's gonna pull a tendon. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. Well, are you kidding? That's what we have. We have mud here, and there's no getting around it. There's a swamp on our property. Like, that's what we have. And I love where I live. I truly love where I live. And it's just all part of it. So, but same with manure. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you have manure. Like, really? Like, I got 16 horses. There's gonna be manure. I can't pick this all up every single day in the winter. It's frozen to the ground. And as I showed you earlier, remember all the ice that's underneath this stuff? This manure is protecting my horses from slipping on that ice. So when everything dries, we can scrape it and it's all good. So, but there's just, people have a lot of different perceptions of what's good, what's not good, and it is what it is. So, all right, guys. Maybe tomorrow, I think I will ride Annabelle. If you want to see that, I'll ride Annabelle. And so you guys think of any questions that you have on Annabelle, and I will do the same thing I did with Nakona, and we'll talk about everything, and I'll have a nice little ride on her and call it good. So if you guys are cool with that, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. We brought in 59 bucks on this video to add towards the goodies that I'm going to get to make my videos better. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.